two main strands in my life are my spiritual practice and my painting. Now my children have grown up and getting on with their own lives, you know. There was a time when they were the third, but, you know, but it's wonderful, really. So I never worry about drying up painting-wise.
Yeah.
Never. I mean, okay, I might stop doing the lake and I might start doing the sky, or I might go back to something in Portugal, may get me going. But the inherent, the real essence of the work has always been about transcendence.
Is there a process that you go through when you start a new project?
Well, I mean, while I was doing the Indian works, which was multimedia with gold leaf from the sweets in Delhi and pastel, I used different media. It wasn't watercolour then. It kind of feeds itself. You know, you might say, well, try a little bit. I remember going to the temple and finding you know, they put paint and turmeric and white, and I got some of those powders and I used them in the work, and it kind of feeds itself. But with watercolour, it is pure watercolour, and it just suits my nature. It's very, very fluid. In fact, I remember the day I was 18 years old. I had very, very good art teachers in a comprehensive school in Edinburgh. And I was sitting by the window and they said, today, Mr. MacArthur said, Mr. MacArthur, you remember your teacher's names, don't you?
You do.
Mr. MacArthur said, Janet, today we're going to try watercolour. And he handed me a bottle and I sat there and I loved it. And I looked over at his face. He watched me and he said, that's your medium. And I was 18. And it's a difficult medium. It's one of the most difficult. And then when I was 21, we all gave each other presents, and my friends gave me the book of Emil Knowles watercolours when I was 21. And then, of course, through the years, I did canvases 8 foot by 5 foot and acrylic and multimedia, and I shied away from watercolour for a long time. And also, a woman watercolour painter, it's not gravitas, it's not, you know, I wanted to be able to show I could do much bigger works than that, and I could. But that it is the most vulnerable of mediums, and I think as I've gotten older and through my spiritual practice, I'm more comfortable with being vulnerable. Yeah,
which is quite interesting. When you let go and give up your own control of trying to control the world.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, then that's where.
Well, I tell you, that is the beauty. You understand that. That to me is the real beauty of watercolour, because if you lose control completely, it floods.
Yeah.
And if you don't control it, it gets tight and rigid, and if you over control, it's tight and rigid. It's such a metaphor for living, which is that balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Staying fluid, staying open to the energies, and staying grounded, and pay your mortgage or your rent or whatever. Staying grounded, and yet being open to the energies. It's a difficult balance.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
I know as a youngster I used to do a lot of ballpoint pen drawing, and it was always very tight, but the discipline was that you knew that you couldn't make a mistake because you couldn't rub it out, so you got very disciplined. And more recently I have started to do wood burning, and I actually found that I would start off by creating an image of some nature and then transferring it onto a piece of wood and then reinforcing it as a pencil drawing. I like motorbikes, so I did one on a motorbike, and when I started to do the wood burning, the detail became even richer. And yet there are other times where I like the idea, if you throw a few blobs on somewhere, that the images form a pattern that you can interpret in whatever way you want. So a kind of contrast.
Gee, as you just said wood burning, what flashed into my mind was alchemy and how things change with burning. And how in India, you know, they have pyres, they burn the dead body, and then you're left with the bones. And what a shocking thing that is for us at first.
Yes.
And then it just flashed into my head that wood burning and burning is a very strange thing, isn't it?
I think
it has a meaning other than just burning wood.
I think when you mentioned that, I was actually thinking of the end sequence of a movie that we made where a guy called Brady Beck shot an image of a piece of wood, a thin piece of wood, and actually burnt it. And for the end credits, it just fades away. But then you've got the wisps of smoke, so you see the material, and then you see it sort of burning away, and then all of a sudden it becomes smoke, and you just see it go.
Yeah, that's lovely.
You know, that's a...
I remember I used to work in the Douglas High Gallery in Dublin as a part-time education officer, and we had this beautiful exhibition, I never forgot it. Toshikatsu Endo, I think he was named. He was a Japanese artist, and he was a sculptor, and he burnt huge, big, tree trunks, I guess, massive, big lumps of wood. And on the top, they were black wood. He put some water, and the water, the way it formed, it was slightly raised like that. That's what happens when you put. I mean, I must have seen thousands of exhibitions in my life.
Yes.
I never forgot that. The beauty of it, the simple beauty of the water and the dark wood, and often, you know, living where I do and being amongst trees and energy. Never forgot that. Yeah, wood is interesting.
Well, my father was a wood turner.
Ah!
So he did wood turning, and I've actually got his lathes, and I haven't yet got a chance to use them.
Wow.
But I know that, you know, you get the smell of burning coming from, and then you get the, I suppose it's kind of that recycling sense, because there'd be wood chips that would come from it, and then wood chips would get used for something else.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's interesting, yeah. So he was a wood turner, right?
Yeah. So he was a gardener as well.
Well, you know, when I went to art college, we were the first generation in Britain of people who were paid to go to college.
Right.
And some psychological students came and did a big survey on us. And they discovered that the majority of our parents, not in my case, my parents were engineers, but they were gardeners, hairdressers.
Oh.
What was the third one you said there? Gardeners and hairdressers, anyway.
Well, Dev was wood turner. Wow, that's
a wood turner as well.
Really very.
Sign decorators. But they were all very artistic people who would have, had they had a chance to have free education.
Well, you just now described my dad, who was the gardener, who married the hairdresser, and I went to art school.
There you go.
And filmmaking. So it's a similar sort.
Isn't it interesting?
It is. It's really fun.
Yeah.
And yet my dad never saw himself as being artistic.
No.
And yet he would do massive great big landscapes.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean?
This art, you know, has such a Renaissance profile, but actually they were all very, very creative people.
We have more on the way, so please subscribe to this channel and check out the link below if you'd consider becoming a patron to help us keep making more content. Thanks for watching.